Hello and welcome to episode number 284. This is the Project Management Podcast at pm-podcast.com and I'm Cornelius Fichtner. Are you an accidental project manager? You know, someone who was thrust into the project management role without much fanfare, introduction or even education? Well, you're not alone. It happened to you, it happened to me, and it continues to happen to thousands of other project managers throughout the world. Well, wouldn't it be great if there were organizations out there who introduced young people to the concepts and approaches of project management? There are, and that's good news for the future of our profession. Joan Vincent is president of the Wideman Education Foundation, whose goal is to promote sound project management principles and skills, especially among young people. As part of this, the Wideman Education Foundation is dedicated to attracting young individuals into the project management profession and helping them develop the organizational and leadership skills they will need to succeed in today's job market. Through workshops and competitions, the foundation fosters essential, basic and practical skills like preparation, planning, teamwork, communication, and delivering presentations. It's all about getting the next generation of project managers interested in the profession. And now, just as Whitney Houston used to sing, I believe young people are our future. Teach them well and let them lead those projects. Enjoy the interview.
The Project Management Podcasts feature interview.
Today with Joan Vincent, president of the Wideman Education Foundation.
Hello, Joan, and welcome to the Project Management Podcast.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So, why are project management skills important for today's and tomorrow's workforce?
Project management skills are able to travel, and our workplace is a living thing, in my opinion. It grows and it moves and it evolves, and we're always trying to catch up with it. The skills for project management are able to do that smoothly. Project managers have to keep in front of the wave. So project managers have to be current. They have to know what they're doing. They have to be up to date. Technically, they have to be up to date in terms of the expectations and the requirements of their work. Our workplace is more and more competitive, as we all know. So those men and women with project management skills will be looked for. In other words, companies will be seeking out people with project management skills because we can attend to circumstances that are unexpected. And not only can we attend to them, but we enjoy the challenge.
So what you're basically saying is that all our listeners here who have project management skills will be employed for life.
Well, I'd like to be able to say that, but I'm not about to say that. However, they have a very good chance of finding employment, finding a new project. If they're between projects, the key skill is persuasion, because project management can be applied in almost any industry. Any industry. The job of the project manager that's looking to shift industries is to be able to persuade their new employer that, in fact, their skills can be applied.
You are the president of the Wideman Education Foundation, and we will be focusing on what the foundation is and does. So in line with my opening question here, how does the Wideman Education Foundation help with project management skills in the workforce?
We encourage and support men and women, young men and women, and older men and women, if necessary, to learn about project management skills through our workshops and our competitions. Leadership, teamwork, communication, risk management, time management, planning, all of those things are critical in our competitive workplace.
And what would you say that our listeners are going to get out of our discussion here today? What will they learn for themselves, for their careers?
I'd like the listeners to take away 3 concepts. First would be awareness, to be aware of opportunities for young men and women to learn the project management skills, but also how to implement them. Implementation is the key. Any kind of skill or plan just on a piece of paper is dead. In order to bring it to life and make it useful, it needs to be implemented. The second is trends, rapid growth in project management, levels of certification, job availabilities globally, particularly the variety of industries that utilize project management skills. There's a wonderful resource on the PMI website, and your listeners may or may not be aware of it, but it's called Pulse of the Profession, and it's on the PMI.com website, and that gives you statistics and analyses and all sorts of very, very good and accurate and up-to-date information. I recommend it. And the third point would be around career tips. Project managers need to consider a lot of things, but one of the most important areas of consideration is the human environment in which they will work. Project managers have to deal with teams and temperaments and personalities and communication levels and different worldviews and cultural sophistication. A word about cultural sophistication. We work all over the world. Bringing North American culture to other places in the world sometimes doesn't work. And how do you overcome that? And how do you deal with it ethically? How do you deal with it in terms of your personal worldview? Is very, very important, the cultural aspects of the work. Levels of education, when we're dealing with different people, different levels of education and experience. So once we get a handle on those kinds of issues, wherever we are in the world, whatever the work we're doing or managing, our career will be a little smoother.
Much of the rest of the interview, we're going to talk about what the Wideman Education Foundation does. So let's talk a little bit about the basics here. Please tell us about the who, the why, the when, and the how of the foundation.
Wideman Education Foundation is an independent charitable organization, and it was founded by Max Wideman and bankrolled by the proceeds from his books that were published by PMI International. And we started our work in 2007, and we haven't stopped. Our workshops and competitions are designed not only to educate, but to excite, to get people really revved up for the occupation. For example, one of our workshops, and we called it Step Up to Opportunity, it was for high school students, grades 11 and 12, and we gathered about 65 of these students at the SFU Surrey campus to learn about and experience the impact of one of our core tools of project management, which is a work breakdown structure and its implementation, to realize how important strategic communication is and to learn about trends and opportunities in the project management field. The students loved it. They really got into it. And some of the evaluations when they were finished were, quote, "It was a fantastic event," unquote. And again, a second quote, "I enjoyed the speakers as it provided a lot of useful information of project management and its application in the real world." We know these high school students will take this experience with them as they move forward in their lives and in their careers. Many of these skills can be used in everyday life. It doesn't even have to be used on a project. So our key event is our annual Wideman competition, and we hold that at the SFU Surrey campus. And currently it includes students from SFU and University of British Columbia. We're in the process of expanding the number of institutions involved. We want to shake it up a little bit, and more competition. The more competition, the better.
It's a great segue, because I was just going to ask you about the educational competitions. The purpose of the Wideman Education Foundation is described as to advance education by providing workshops and educational competitions to students and practitioners on the theory and practice of project management principles and skills. So we have the workshops and we have the educational competitions. So since you already mentioned the educational competition, let's begin with those first. Tell us a little bit more about the education competitions. What's the process, the requirements, the rewards that people get out of it?
I'd be glad to. At present, the students must be enrolled in a project management class for the competition in the university or post-secondary institution, and supported by their professor. Each competition is judged by project management practitioners, and student teams of 5 present their project. This year we had 3 teams from UBC and 6 teams from SFU. UBC won the prize this year. Last year, SFU won it, and the year before that, SFU won it. So UBC was very pleased to walk away with the prize this year, and their project was titled SHIFT. That's SHIFT, SHIFT. The way they introduced their project was, and I'm going to quote here, so I keep it straight. Their quote is, recognizing that the 2014 Winter Olympics focus on able-bodied athletes overshadowed the achievements of Paralympic athletes. The SHIFT team decided to raise awareness of the skill and the determination and the athleticism of para-athletes by allowing able-bodied high school students to personally experience para-sports. So they organized an interactive session between high school students and some of Canada's most accomplished para-athletes to personally try wheelchair basketball. Well, as a result of that, real understanding and appreciation was realized. So some of the quotes and from the winning team, and I'm going to read this because it's a direct quote. Winning, first of all, it was exciting. I believe this was the first type of academic competition that any of the group members had been in. I know it was mine. Beyond the excitement, the common question of, so what's next for SHIFT, S-H-I-F-T, has started to become more clear. Winning the WEF competition has offered SHIFT multiple opportunities to present our project and network with individuals throughout the community. Each opportunity has increased SHIFT's audience and helped me grow as a recent graduate. The majority of my presenting experience was to fellow classmates. SHIFT has let me present to a wide audience, from a group of high school and university students to the West Coast PMI chapter conference to seasoned project management professionals. That was written by Judd, and I'm only going to read one more. Quote, the competition was an incredibly valuable learning experience. It not only provided myself with an opportunity to further my presentation skills, but also allowed our team to present our event and share our experience with a wider audience. I thought that the judging panel was diverse and well experienced, specifically in the field of project management. It was a great exposure to the industry to be able to present our project and have successful project managers evaluate and judge it. That was from Michelle. The rewards, they vary, but mostly the rewards, each winning team member receives a cash amount, a certificate of achievement, and an opportunity to speak at and attend the West Coast PMI chapter's annual conference. They get a lot out of that. They get to network. They get to, once again, practice their presentation skills in front of a large audience. So they're well looked after the winning. It's not just here's your prize, goodbye. It's here's your prize. Let's carry this on and share it with as many people as we can.
Wow, that is amazing. I can very much relate to their experience because when I was about 23, 24 years old, I also participated in a program that was focused on lifelong learning and teaching you skills that you didn't have. And to this day, we were a group of 100 people. To this day, I still am in constant contact with these 100 people through the internet, obviously. And this experience back then, it was just something that you carry with you your whole life. And I assume it's going to be very, very similar to what the students are experiencing, the opportunities that you give them, right?
It's very powerful. Very powerful. Yeah. And our feedback consistently confirms that.
All right. So we have listeners from all over the world, right? You said the students that participated, UBC, SFU, maybe some of our listeners have children or relatives who are enrolled in universities and in project management courses. How can they participate? Do they have a chance of participating?
At the moment, as part of the competition, no. We are considering ways, technologically, ways to include and change the format to address a larger number of competitors. If any of your listeners are interested in becoming more involved, then if they would email us their ideas or send us some information that we might be able to collaborate on and perhaps come up with a more extensive format. We're very interested in that. At the moment, we're not equipped to do it. But we have our eyes to the future, as every project manager must, and we're thinking of the bigger picture.
Right. I also read about learn through doing and struggle for excellence. How does that play into this?
Struggle is good. Not everyone may believe that, but out of struggle comes something very worthwhile. Our students that are involved with the competition, with the university students, at the same time they're involved with our competition, they're also trying to work through their final exams. Now you can imagine the pressure that's on. Those students involved with the competition really have to struggle to balance all the demands and requirements, such as their timetable, their level of effort, their energy, to go the extra mile, to be willing to sacrifice whatever extra time they have in order to fulfill the requirements of this competition. Everyone involved is a winner because they're reaching beyond the expected.
And of course, I have to ask you this. How does all that the Wideman Education Foundation does help the project management profession on the one hand, but more importantly, how does it help our listeners on the other hand?
The young men and women that we work with are the future. They are our future. They'll be our colleagues, our team members, employees, employers. All of your listeners have a stake in the workforce of the future. With the WEF experience and the introduction to the scope of project management application, we believe we're playing an active role in the success of that workforce.
How can our listeners become involved with the foundation?
First and foremost, I must say this, it's donations. We're a nonprofit charitable organization, and all the monies that we raise, we give out. So we're always in need of donations. We can only sustain our work through donations. And they're tax deductible, and we have a very clear breakdown of the expenses of the competition. So if your listeners would like to support one thing or another, we'd be more than pleased to identify what that might be, and they can go to our webpage to see that list. Other ways, write to us with ideas or suggestions, and we will try to implement them, and we will try to consider new possibilities or new ways to do what we're doing. And thirdly, if you're in the Vancouver area, certainly more volunteers.
All right. You mentioned very early on that the foundation was originally seeded with money through the proceeds of a book that Max Wideman wrote. Is that still the case? Can the listeners also just go ahead and buy that book in the knowledge that the money that they pay for the book will go to the foundation?
Well, that's a very interesting question. I don't. We haven't put such an arrangement in place. Certainly, it's a good book. His books are very good, and he's written several, and I'm sure you can get them through PMI International. But as far as a relationship, a connection buy the book, and the money comes to our foundation. That's not in place at this moment. It's a very good idea, though.
See, you've got your next idea, your next project that you can be working on. So what do you personally get out of volunteering for the foundation?
I do a lot of volunteering elsewhere. And I believe in volunteering. I believe volunteerism is a way to share knowledge and wisdom and know-how and all of those things. Mostly, I like to be around project managers because they're doers. They like to solve problems. They like to get things done. They like to create. And so it's a way of paying back, but it's also I like the environment, and I have fun working together with current project managers and potential project managers.
And what if someone from outside of North America wants to volunteer for the foundation? Any chances here?
It's very difficult, although I'd like. If someone is interested in volunteering outside, there may be other ways to do that. By that, I mean it could be helping with writing of documentation, or designing new formats, or designing new ways of delivering our competitions, or increasing our competition, doing different kinds of competitions. So
all right. So the opportunities are there, but you'll have to find them first.
Yes, if you're outside of the area, it would be very difficult. However, not to be discouraged by that. If you're interested, we would love to hear from you and have a conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, and of course we can raise their interest if we can give them PDUs, because many of our listeners, they are PMP certified or PMI certified. So does volunteering for the foundation qualify as a PDU earning activity?
PDUs are earned, yes, it does. PDUs, each volunteer hour earns one PDU with a maximum of 45 during a cycle. But I do suggest that your listeners go to the PMI website, because it's very clearly defined there. But I do believe it's one PDU for each volunteer hour.
Yes, I believe so too. So here you go, listeners. You earn PDUs by listening to this interview. That is a qualifying activity. And if you need more PDUs, then get in touch with the foundation and volunteer for the foundation from wherever you are in the world. Obviously, the opportunities are there. And we will have this information on our website as well, but the link to the foundation, the website of the foundation is widemaneducationfoundation.org, and Wideman Education Foundation, that's one long word. Joanne, to close the interview, would you please tell us about the 3 things that you have personally learned from the various entries in the educational competition that will be helpful to our listeners, either on their own projects or to help them in their careers?
The most difficult part of answering this question is just to keep it to 3. I've learned so much and gained and had so many wonderful experiences and fun and learning. However, I did pick 3. The first one is, it may sound a little strange, but the first one is wait for it. Just wait for it. Sometimes it takes a while for communication to click. It's always worth the wait. The second one is, ask the opinions of those least likely to have an answer, and you'll be amazed. And number 3, appreciate change. There are no options to it.
Excellent, Joanne. Thank you very much for coming on the program today and introducing us to the Wideman Education Foundation. I really appreciate your time.
It's been my pleasure, and thank you for inviting me.
And that was Joan Vincent, president of the Wideman Education Foundation. You can find them at widemaneducationfoundation.org. And that's it. Thanks for listening. As always, you can find us on the web at pm-podcast.com. Please send your emails to info@pm-podcast.com. And when you write, please do tell me where in the world you are writing from. And finally, we have this. skills can be learned, while experience must be earned. Until next time.